Well, you ain't from around here, are you, boy? Part of me wonders, is my southern accent as embarrassing as my British one? I don't know. Hey everybody! Overdue Doctor Who continues, and we roll right along with Series 7, which brings us to a town called Mercy. This is an episode I have very mixed feelings about. I want to like it more than I do. And there's just a bunch of little things kind of holding it back for me that are not massive glaring issues. It just results in an episode that's just kind of fine. It's just sort of the epitome of, yeah. That was an episode of Doctor Who, sure. That's kind of all that I can think to say about it, really. But I'm gonna have to think of more to say, so let's sort this out. I am rather fond of Ben Browder. I'm a Farscape fan, so having him in this, playing the Marshal, I think they put a little more dirt on his face than I think, strictly speaking, they needed to, but he works. I always like him. He's got a just a very affable line delivery and presence, so I enjoy that. I kind of wish they'd gotten more screen time out of him. I feel like they actually killed that character earlier than was necessary to do for the plot. I may only be saying that because I like Ben Browder, though. So there's that. The Gunslinger, I mean, that's just fun. You basically got this sort of, this steampunk western cyborg. And that's just cool. I like the design. I like the reverb they've got in the voice. I really am a sucker for low voices with reverb. I don't know what it is. There's just something just about when the voices get that deep. And, just, bring him out, or you all die. I really do love that. I like what they're doing with the Doctor here. It's funny because I feel like this episode pulls off more successfully what Dinosaurs on a Spaceship tried to do towards the end, or at least in a way that integrates into the story better. So I mentioned in my previous review that one of my issues with Dinosaurs on a Spaceship is the shift to the Doctor, going dark and basically killing a guy effectively. Not that I never want to see the story go that way, because we're dealing with the Doctor who seems to be grappling with a lot right now. But that really didn't feel like the story to do it in. Whereas here, his sort of struggle of what to do with this alien who's hiding out, who put not only the Gunslinger, but innumerable other people through hell, through physical, mental, emotional hell in order to make weapons. And the Doctor, being torn and conflicted about what to do to or with this guy. And so it's dredging up the same sort of angst and uncertainty and, certain amount of, are we headed towards the Time Lord victorious again? Fear in the audience in a way that integrates into the story much better, especially with him basically taking over the role of the Marshal in the town, because it puts him in a situation where it's his call, and he seems to know he's not in the best mindset to be able to make this call with any dispassion. And I really do like his outburst. Today I think about the victims first. The Daleks, the Cybermen, the Masters, the weight of all the damage that's happened around him that he couldn't stop is weighing on him. And I also like Amy's response of, see, this is why you can't travel alone. It's doing a very good job of iterating the importance of companions in general, Amy in particular at the moment, and just also allowing the Doctor, without dipping into that Time Lord Victorious thing again, just allowing him to feel his feelings. Because the man's frustrated. He tries so hard and so many people still die. Like, that weighs on you. I get it. So, I enjoy all that. But there's just... I think part of what doesn't fully click for me in this episode is the setting. I don't know if it's just because being an American, I very much, grew up in the, with the iconography of the Wild West. And for me, and especially the time at which I grew up, the very concept of the Wild West was basically a theme park. Like, it was this romanticized thing that was repackaged for children's entertainment all over the place. It would show up either as pastiches in cartoons, or you would have, things just sort of set in that time and in that era, maybe even aimed at teenagers or whatnot. And I don't know. It's just something that I'm so familiar with and associate so much with youth. I think it's just because when you grow up in America, you kind of have to, as you grow over, get the idea of the cowboy and that whole culture demystified for you, because you realize how many ugly truths that glossed over. So to see a show basically have what, again, looks to me like effectively the amusement park version of the Wild West and just presenting it straight, I don't know. That's hard for me to connect to. It can work better with me with something like, say, the Red Dwarf episode that has a Wild West setting, because that's there to have fun and make funny jokes and just be ridiculous with it. Whereas playing it a bit more straight, it's hard for me to connect with that setting and take it seriously, I guess. And that might be one of those things that's just me. That's just my hang up and my baggage. I don't know. But I think that's probably the biggest knock on my ability to get more enjoyment out of this episode than I do. There's also, some, especially at the front end, little bits of sort of extended cringy humor with things like, the Doctor walking into the saloon and he's chewing on a toothpick really awkwardly for a while, and or he gets to the guy's ship and he's hitting it and ow, and they're like, oh, why is this going on for like 20 seconds? It's not a great joke, but I did appreciate him taking a guy's horse, and the guy says the horse's name is Joshua. It's from the Bible. And the Doctor says, no, it's not. I speak horse. His name's Susan, and he wants you to respect his life choices. There are some LGBTQ plus, some trans sort of people who would probably feel like it's making light of gender identity things by making a joke. I thought it was loving and endearing, and I didn't feel like it made gender identity the target of the joke. It was just the topic of the joke. See my video on who gets to tell what jokes from last year on the difference there. And I'm spending more time talking about this than is probably worth it. But I enjoyed that moment. I had completely forgotten about it before I rewatched it. But I think that's about it. Core cast is great. Guest cast is pretty good. Yay, Ben Browder. But the rest of the supporting cast is pretty decent as well. Some wonky Southern accents, but I mean, there were wonky New York accents back in Series 3 for that Dalek two-party. So, I mean, I don't know. When you know what an accent really sounds like, you catch the little things that aren't quite right. So, it's what I'm going to catch whenever British actors do American accents, and it's what I'm sure every viewer that I have in the UK, they probably cringe and lose a few months off their life every time they hear me, even for a single line of dialogue trying to do a British accent. So I guess my apologies there. A Town Called Mercy. You rewatched it lately? What'd you think about it? Whatever your thoughts are. There's a comment section down there. Put something on down. Let's talk about it. I've got a Patreon if you feel like supporting me and helping this whole thing keep going and maybe even get bigger and better and more elaborate. Ooh, who knows? In addition, of course, you can also help me out by liking, subscribing, sharing this video, but you also don't have to do any of it because I'm not going to tell you what to do. I ain't the sheriff around here. And at the end of the day, folks, you're the council. I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned.